When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink, but I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds. I love chic branding, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
Hear that? Yeah, that's the sound of you relaxing, because now you're managing diabetes with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. You get to know your glucose levels and where it's headed. Manage your diabetes with more confidence with the Freestyle Libre 3 system. Ready to learn more about the #1 prescribed CGM in the U.S.? Visit freestylelibre.us to learn more. Based on retail sales data for patients' last filled prescription by manufacturer. Refer to the FLAIR NL4 study published in BMJ Open Diabetes Research and Care 2019. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Kroger brand products exclusively at Baker's have the great taste you'll celebrate. That's why over 40 million people choose Kroger brand products, making them a true crowd pleaser. And with quality guaranteed, you'll love your choice or get your money back. Score Kroger brand products with savings you can cheer for and great taste you can't resist. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe, and you're listening to Works for Us, where we talk to people about what works for them in their relationships and, of course, what doesn't. So today on Works for Us, I'm so excited to be joined by the most hilarious actress, writer, and supermom extraordinaire, Jenny Mollen. With her humorous books of personal short stories, I Like You Just the Way I Am, which just kills me, Live Fast and Die Hot, kills me, Jenny showcases her ability to point fun at herself in a way that allows all of her readers and fans to relate and absolutely fall in love with her. Her new novel, City of Likes, is an exciting departure from her memoir style while still highlighting many of the themes close to Jenny's heart. She's also been married to her husband, Jason Biggs, since 2008, and they have two adorable sons, Sid and Lazlo. I'm so excited to talk to you about all of this and more. So welcome to Works for Us. I'm so happy to have you.
Thank you. Wait, so I have to ask you because I just started a podcast and I do the same thing. It's so awkward. To do the opening with the person in front of you.
Okay, so here's the thing.
What is your thought on that? Should I do it or should I not?
Well, my thought is that I like to do it separately, but no one will let me because they said it's not as real. Like they said
really?
They said that when I don't do it kind of in real time, like I sound like a robot. It sounds like you're doing a recording rather than like going into a conversation. Because for me,
I start to blush.
Me too.
I'm intimidated by the person.
Yeah, it's awkward. I agree with you. It's awkward. I've done podcasts like with other people where they do the intro later. Yes. But I think it's one of those things where what I've heard over and over is just that when you do it the way like I just did it, then we just kind of can kick into speaking, and it's almost like I'm talking to you in this awkward way.
Yeah.
Rather than like a recorded type of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, it's a bit odd.
Sure. And I'm always like, am I getting it right? Because I found this about you on Wikipedia, and like, what if it's wrong? And they're going to correct me mid intro.
Well, I have a lot of trust because I'm hoping that our people and your people already saw this because
totally, that's a good point.
Because, because for me, like to know less about, a lot of people that I talk to on the show are already people I've known for a long time. So It's a little easier. But when it's people I've never met, I actually like to not know anything. Is that weird?
No, I get that. I feel that way too.
I actually like the less information. It was like when I was doing my show, they used to be like, oh, do you want to do a pre-meet? I'm like, no. Like I actually just want to do it in real time so that we actually like get to know each other for real,
I agree.
So you're in New York, yeah?
I'm in New York.
Oh my God. Is it cold now?
Today it's cold. Yesterday it was oddly warm, but
weird.
Now it's cold again.
So weird. It's so weird. Okay. So, all right, let's first, because I could talk to you for days and hours. So, all right. So I do need to go back to the sort of beginning of, because I do always forget to do this, but because we're about relationships, more or less, we try to be anyway. I want to go back to the beginning because, I've been with my husband for 30 years. We've been married for 24. Amazing. So it's a little insane, but I do sort of want to go back for a second. Like, how did you and Jason meet? How did it happen? Is it funny? Because I feel like you're both so funny.
I think it was funny. Yeah, we were both auditioning for this movie, and I knew my sister was. So the way I found out about this movie, it wasn't like an audition that came through my agents. It was my sister had been set up with this guy that she went on a date with, was not into him, ghosted him completely for like two months, and then all of a sudden he calls her up and he like doubles down and he just says, all right, I know you weren't into me. I want to try again. And will you come with me to Hawaii for the weekend? And she was so taken aback because she's like, I've not talked to you, not answered your text, nothing. I was so bored on the date that I was drawing on the table. But then she was so sort of, I guess, impressed by the balls of that he came back. So she's like, all right, fuck it. I'll go to Hawaii with you. Cut to, they come back. They've got like tattoos. They're fully together. And the whole thing took on a different spin.
Stop.
And he was a manager at 360. So he said, I rep this writer who's doing this Kate Hudson movie. Mm-hmm. Your sister should, if she hasn't heard of it, she should read. She should come in. And so Samantha's like, yeah, I think I got you an audition.
Oh my God.
So I go in and I audition for this movie. And then I end up going to the next level, the next, whatever, producers.
Right.
And Doug at the time calls me back and he's like, hey, thanks for making me look good. Because I could have been like any random. He just sent into the room. And he said, before you go, do you want to watch the tapes of the other girls you're up against? And I'm like, let me think about it.
Yeah.
Yes. I've only been waiting for somebody to ask me that question my entire career.
Right. Of course.
So I'm flipping through the tapes, feeling super cocky and just like, like I definitely have it in the bag.
Right.
And I'm watching these girls and it's always the same. There were like 5 of us at the time, right? We're like all up for all the same shit. And he says, while you're at it, we're choosing between these 2 guys for the main guy role. One is Jason Biggs and one is this other guy. And my knee-jerk reaction was, well, give it to the other guy. Fuck Jason Biggs. I mean, isn't he that guy from those teen comedies? I was a theater major. I hadn't even seen American Pie, but I definitely thought I was way above him. And I was also incredibly jealous that he was famous and I wasn't famous. So I was like, I'm definitely rooting for the underdog. I don't even care who the other guy is, but I want him to have it over Jason Biggs.
Oh my God.
So I'm watching the tapes and Jason was sensational. Truly, I always say to him, because he did end up doing the movie, I'm like, you were better in the audition. Because he was so good. And I literally called Doug back and I had to be like, sort of admit, I said, I was wrong. Jason is incredible and you have to give it to him.
Oh my God, I'm dead.
To a few days later, my sister calls me and she says, I have a weird ask. Doug wants to know if you'll go on a double date with me and him and Jason. And I, like at the time, I don't know. I mean, when you're like an actress in LA, you're just like, you don't want to piss anybody off.
Sure, of course.
I wanted still to get into this movie. I'm like, I mean, okay, I'll go. Is this a couch situation? What am I getting into? But so I said I would go. And then I had a phone call with Jason and Doug and Samantha, like a party line. And Jason was like totally stoned and he was staying at like the Roosevelt Hotel and he was just not funny on the phone.
Oh, the Roosevelt. Right? I'm losing my mind. Yes. Okay.
So I call my sister back. I'm like, he's not funny. I can't go. I'm over it. I don't want to go. Tell them I can't make it. She's like, Jenny, it's free sushi. You have to go. So we go to Sushi Park. He walks in. I'm like, are you Jason?
By the way, expensive free sushi, by the way.
It was expensive, good sushi, right?
Yeah.
So, he walks in, we're talking. And then like by the end of the night, we're both like, we're both on Zoloft. We both have like fucked up family shit. There was just like all of these overlapping things happening.
Oh my God.
And yeah. And so we kind of started casually seeing each other. But at this point, neither one of us had been cast in this movie.
Right.
So then, we're still like waiting to hear when Jason gets cast. Then I instantly go back to fuck Jason Biggs. I hate him. I'm like so pissed because I hadn't heard anything. But then I found out that I did get a role in the movie, not the role that I wanted, but a role. And we were in Boston together for 2.5 months, and we were married. When we were married, babe, like 6 months after meeting or 9 months after meeting. We were married.
Sick.
It's
that's
crazy.
amazing.
We didn't really know each other, but I mean,
but that's amazing. But look at you, you're here, right?
I know, it's so crazy.
No, because I mean, and I know that in this industry, those quick marriages almost don't ever work, right? I mean, almost never.
It's so true.
I'm still amazed that my marriage actually works, and it's been like 400 years. So like, but here's the thing. I'm always very in favor of those kind of like meet cute situations, because it's like you get to a certain point in your life and a certain age and you just go, I fucking know. Like, I know this is my person. And you know what?
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But this is my person. And, the fact that it works, and here you are 2 kids later, right?
Crazy.
How old are your kids?
So I have an 8-year-old and I have a 4-year-old.
Oh my goodness. Boy mom, yeah?
Nuggets. Yes.
Boy mamas for life. For life.
It's the best.
I had a friend who's a single mom. I have a friend that's a single mom. And when I was pregnant with my first son, because I was only convinced that I was having girls my whole entire life, like mini girls, and had none, by the way, obviously. But I remember being pregnant with Sky, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I literally was like,
right.
I don't speak boy. Like, I don't even understand what I'm doing. And she said, Rachel, a mother and a son is a love affair that is indescribable and everlasting. Yes. And I have had the strongest love affair with both of my children that it's indescribable. I mean, I mean, do you feel the same way? I mean, do you make out with them? Because I do.
I make out with them. Oh, I'm obsessed. Sid just recently, now girls are having crushes on him, and a letter came home, and it's like, that. Oh my God, you are unique. You are what? And now Sid's
it's crazy, right?
He's like, I'm unique. And now he believes everything that he's been fed by this girl's school. And I'm spinning. I'm just like, Jason, I'm not ready for this. She's coming on too strong. And Jason's like, chill out. What do you think she's going to do? She's not like some predator. It's fine. But I'm so spun. I'm so jealous. I fully understand my mother-in-law now.
Yeah, no,
I'm like,
me too.
I get why you hated me.
Yep.
You should have.
I think all boy moms really, whether they own up to it or not, hate their daughter-in-laws. I just think it. I just do. I think no one can ever be good enough for our boys. I just
ever.
I stand with you. I think we should form an alliance so that we don't get called mental. Like I think.
No, I know. We're gonna need the support system later.
I agree.
It's gonna be hard.
Well, how about this? I have an 8-year-old son who got engaged at 6, actually got on his knee, tried to carry her over the threshold and gave her a diamond ring. An actual diamond ring. Oh my God. Not a crystal ring. A diamond ring he took from mommy's jewelry box. And they're still engaged and inseparable. It's been almost 2 years. June will be 2 years since the engagement. And he tells anyone that'll listen, oh, I have a fiance, actually. We're not going to get married till I'm 21, but we're engaged. Truth. So get ready, friend. Get ready. Okay.
That's heavy.
So it is heavy. Okay. So you got married really quick. What was the proposal like? I feel like it was funny. Was it funny? I can't imagine you guys serious together. Is that weird?
It is hard. No, it's hard. Jason hates that. He's like, that's why, like, I feel like for me, it's hard to be intimate because I want to undercut everything with comedy.
Right. It's a defense mechanism too, obviously. I'm sure you know that.
Sure. Yes. So he proposed originally we were in St. Martin, and that was at the 6-month mark.
Okay.
And I said yes, but it was with a pair of earrings. It wasn't serious. We weren't going to tell anybody. We were just like, we were like doing drugs. We were crazy.
Hold on. He proposed with a pair of earrings?
Yes.
That's amazing. That's actually
brilliant.
And it was just
a random, like, he bought me a pair of earrings and then he like took one back and then he proposed to me. You know, it's just the crazy
Don't you just love
beginning of
that,
a relationship.
Though? How old were you guys? I'm trying to wrap my head around like
27
God, so
and he was 28.
Young. You're young.
Yeah, we were pretty young when that happened.
Okay.
And then so then we go back to New York. It was his sister's birthday. He used to throw her this bowling party every year at like Bullmore Lanes in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And we did ecstasy. I got pregnant.
Oh my God.
And then I'm like, oh my God, wait a minute. You can't hijack my life. I don't even know you. I was like, suddenly the like cloud of bliss was removed. Reality set in. And I'm looking around like,
there's nothing like a baby to wake you the fuck up. By the way,
I was like, hold on. I'm not ready. I'm not like, I haven't succeeded in the way I want to succeed. I'm still just like,
and you were like 28. You were like 27, 28.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I literally, it was like, I'm not having this baby. I mean, I'm definitely not doing this.
Right. Like any guy in their 20s would.
Yeah, exactly. But then I had to kind of really take a hard look at the relationship. And I was too sort of, I knew I was like already in too deep. I really was in love with him. And so I sort of just accepted that, okay, this is what's going to happen. I guess we're going to have a fucking baby together. So now 3 months later, we're like, okay, we're having a baby together. Then I miscarried. And then I was like, I'm free. But then at that point I was like, but now like,
you were so attached and you were like,
so attached to
yeah,
you.
of course.
I just wanted to have your child. Like getting married seemed like nothing.
Right. Of course.
Married, on the side of the road at a FedEx Kinko's in Calabasas in our pajamas. I was like, you know what? Like, this is fucking nothing. We've like already been through so much together that of course we are going to get married.
Oh my God.
And then we had a wedding in Napa about, 3 months after that. And I remember we got in this huge fight. We were outside, one of these like houses we rented.
By the way, as most couples about to get married do, get like in an explosive fight.
A massive fight.
Yeah. 100%.
And he looks at me, he's like, what, did you just don't want to do this? And I turned back to him and just said, we're already married. It's too late. So yeah, that was the beginning. And you know what? It's been a wild ride ever since. No, but it's true. I mean, I say every day, I'm so lucky that whatever the universe conspired in my favor. Maybe my parents have both been divorced too many times for like me to actually weather some sort of, breakup like that. I've already like lived through so many divorces, but I do feel blessed that for whatever reason, I found somebody that is so perfect for me. And I don't think it was like, people will say, what was the secret? It's like, I don't fucking know. It's dumb luck. I definitely didn't know what I was doing at the time.
I mean, I love working as a stylist, but just because putting together a chic look is fun for me, it doesn't mean it's fun for everybody. In fact, it can be particularly painful for certain men like Roger, for example. So gentlemen, if deciding what to wear each day is draining your energy, it might be time to try Cuts. Cuts Clothing has perfected the art and science of men's shirts, so you can throw one on and look great without ever thinking twice about it. Every Cuts shirt is designed for a modern tailored fit, and they're insanely comfortable. Plus, Cuts has all the essentials for looking sharp like tees, hoodies, polos, and more. So you can stop bouncing between brands to shop for different shirts. I absolutely love how Cuts Clothing has a variety of hem options available within their collection. Specifically, I'm a fan of the Pima Crew curve hem tees on Roger because they actually elongate his leg line and flatter his frame the most. And then when he wants to go for a more relaxed look, the split hem hoodies manage to look polished and comfortable all at once. Truly, it's not easy to find this kind of attention to detail in men's casual wear. So I'm very excited that Cuts has found a way to do just that. Cuts even developed their own patented fabric that would stand the test of time. And let me tell you, it's honestly incredible. This fabric won't shrink, pill, or fade over time in the wash. And no matter how many washes, it always stays incredibly soft. So, join hundreds of thousands of guys who've made this simple decision to elevate their wardrobe with Cuts. Get 15% off your first order by going to cutsclothing.com/Zoe. That's CUTS clothing.com/Zoe. loveliest.com/Zoe for 15% off the only shirt worth wearing. Yeah, but I think here's the thing. It's weird because, you know, I have so many friends that are children of divorce. Okay.
Yes.
My parents we just celebrated, I think, 55 years. My sister is divorced and she got married young and divorced. I mean, I guess relatively young, probably like in her mid 30s. But, you know, I've been through so many divorces with people close to me that I feel like I've been through divorce like 6 times. Like I do. I've like woken up with the pain. I've like, you know, it's this weird thing. But I will say a lot of my friends that are a product of divorce, I found that there's no middle ground. They went one way or the other. They're either like, oh, no, I'm not getting married. Oh, no. That's like not for me. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in monogamy. I don't believe you can be with one person forever and be happy. Right. Or they have the most beautiful marriage and soulmate because they really knew kind of what to maybe look for, or maybe what they most definitely wanted, you know, like coming from
for sure
pain of divorced parents. You know what I mean? So I think for you, my guess is you probably weren't looking for it at all. And maybe put yourself in the box of like, maybe this will happen, maybe it won't, but you happen to have met your soulmate. And I mean, listen, I believe that funny people have to be with funny people because you literally can't function without laughing, you know? So it's like, I almost think it just was meant to be this way. And I think the fact that you guys like fuck with each other so much is sort of the beauty of it. It's hilarious, actually. It's actually hilarious how you got me. Like all of it actually is hilarious.
It's all kind of a comedy.
It is. Are your kids funny?
Yes. It's like, it's, you know,
because this shit's genetic. You know that.
It's genetic. And I always say we have to give them enough attention that they don't become actors. We have to make sure that they feel seen and heard so that they don't turn around and like do what we did and think that they need to like perform so that they can receive external validation for the rest of their lives from strangers in order to prove their worth to their parents. I can't let that happen.
How much therapy have you been in your life? Please tell me.
Oh my God. I've been in therapy since I was probably in first grade.
Because that sounded like the most beautifully said result of therapy ever. Like that was
I've been in a lot of therapy. I also started to get my master's and then dropped out. But
in what? In psychology?
In psychology.
I was majored in psych. My favorite thing I've ever done. It's still my favorite thing. Fun. It's probably why I'm talking to you, honestly.
Yes, for sure. You're doing therapy right now.
I have always loved just getting in people's heads and like what makes you go and why, you know?
Yes. I love that.
But wait, I'm dead. Okay. So okay. Wait, I have so many things to ask you, but okay. So here's the thing. You've evolved from actor, mom, writer. You're this crazy writer right now. Well, not right now, but I mean, for the last several years. But these books, literally, and full disclosure, like I don't have a lot of, like, I don't get to read books that often. I actually need to read these because even just the titles are the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard. Because I like you just the way I am is maybe one of the best lines I've ever heard, because I almost feel like I have to give that to my mother to like, it's like, that's the sum of my parents. Like my dad would absolutely like sing that Billy Joel song to my mom, right? Like, I love you just the way you are. And my mom would be like, I love you just the way I am too. Like she would. And I feel like many wives are probably like that, right? Because we kind of manipulate the situation, right?
Yes.
So tell me about like becoming a writer. Like what made you want to go on the other side?
Well, so I started, I went to UCLA. I was in college, for theater, and I started doing guest stars just around town when I was in school. And I was always sort of inconsistently working, but I never got any of the roles that I wanted. Right. I was always just somebody's girlfriend or some just thankless, I don't know, missile expert.
Hey, nothing wrong with a missile expert. It's very helpful these days.
These days, it actually would come in handy.
Yes.
So I started tweeting because I was so frustrated with my acting career. Just, I wasn't happy. And I was also at this point married to somebody who was successful, which killed me.
Which is hard. It's very hard.
And as an overachiever, all it does is like illuminate your own sort of feelings of inadequacy when you walk into a room, especially when you're like 28 and you thought you were cute and now nobody's looking at you. Sure. They're only looking at Jason Biggs. You're like, fuck him.
But do you know what? I want to pause on that thought for a second, because I want to point that out, because a lot of people, because I've kind of grown up in my adult life in this industry, in fashion and Hollywood, and I've seen it from all sides. Not the acting side. I did have a show for 5 years, but when I say not an actor, like the opposite of an actor, don't give me lines for anything. But people ask me very often how Roger and I have made it this long. And I'm like, because he's not in the business, right? Like he was in finance, I was in fashion, and when you see these huge Hollywood couples, I think when there's writer and actor, producer and actor, director and different. Actor and actor is a very, very hard thing. Even, by the way, doctor and doctor is hard. I know doctors that got divorced because one's career was up here and one's was down here. It's very hard to be in a marriage with someone who does the exact same thing, because someone's always going to be doing better. And it makes you feel pretty shitty, right? No matter how much you pretend it's not, it does, right?
It does. Yeah, for sure.
Now, do you feel like if he was on a different side and you were acting, would you have felt the same way? Or
I was still getting so fed up, because the thing with acting that like why I was never satisfied as an actor is like, I wanted to tell my own story, so it's like, I always thought, if I had just booked that pilot, or if I had just been picked from that screen test, I would be happy. But in retrospect, what I didn't realize at the time was that like, no, I'm never going to be happy. Like, that's not what I want, because I have just too much of like my own story I want to tell.
Sure.
And so I started tweeting really just because I was pissed off and because I, felt like nobody was listening. Right. And they just kept building and building. And all of a sudden I had sort of this audience. And from there, I'm like, all right, maybe I'll write a short story. I'll write a short story for Playboy and let's just see what happens. And then one short story turned into like, okay, now I'm doing a monthly sort of like piece for them. Right. And at the end of that year, I was like, wait, I have enough. I should try to, I could do a book proposal. Sure. And that was the first book. And after that moment, like after I wrote the first book, I knew, I'm like, I'm never fucking going back. I still ended up getting sucked back into like, I did act afterwards. Right. But like begrudgingly. Right. but
it was a side hustle instead of your whole purpose.
Or it was like I felt like I was always like being like coerced somehow or forced, or it's like my friend who's doing this, or, and then you find yourself stuck in a trailer somewhere in Gen I's. You're like, why did I say yes? But yeah, so like once I did the first book, I knew I was like, I'm never going back. I have absolute power. Now I'm not like just the actor. I'm playing every role and I'm moving everybody around in the scene. I mean, you
have such control over the situation.
Especially with books. Yep. When you switch it, like, because I did end up doing that particular book as a show. Yep. As like a little series. Yep. And that was fun, but still like it was only fun because it didn't matter what the studio didn't want. I was like, I already have the book. You can't ever take that away. Sure. It is how I want it to be, exactly how untouched it's in the world. Yep. The concreteness that you get from writing books, there's just like no better high for me.
I love that. I honestly love that. And let me ask you a question. How, like, do you feel supported by females? Like, I have
some female friends that are like
sisters,
so ride or die, just have supported me. I mean, like, I don't know. Do you know Stacey Bendette?
Yeah, of course.
From Alice and Olivia.
Sure.
Stacey is one of those girls where it's like, she has, like, for instance, with the City of Likes, like last year she was having a hard time during the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, as
she
like
moved
all
out
retail
here, I
people
think.
were.
I think she moved out here. Yeah.
And I said to her, I was like, so many people, why are you not just like asking all of your friends to post? And so she wouldn't do it. She's like, no, I can't. I'm like, Stacey, I'm going to fucking make all of these people post for you. So I like went out to all of my friends. I was like, here's this like, whatever it was, sweatsuit. Can you wear it? Can you post it? And I think she was so like taken aback because like one, she never asked for anything, but also she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that for me. That now my book's about to come out. And she's like, insane.
What can I do? What can I do?
She's
what can
like,
I do?
I'm making all the storefront windows of Alice and Olivia are going to be City of Lights.
God.
She's like, we're going to do an event here. And it's just kind of like, one, I love a woman who's driven. I love a Leo moon. I love a fucking hustler.
Yep.
But I also love someone who's like, wants
your
to
back.
just like support you.
Sure.
And there's nothing like, she doesn't gain anything from like books.
Of course.
But it's just like amazing.
I think to that point, I think one of the things I've learned, I've been doing my podcast for a year, and one of the keys to successful relationships, and I'm sure that you have this in your marriage, is that the one of the many common threads in all of these successful relationships, whether it's friendships, siblings, husband and wife, whatever it is, you're rooting for each other. You're genuinely rooting for each other. You want desperately for this person to win and succeed, and their win is your win, and you're so happy. And there's none of that jealousy, the animosity, the insecurity, and there is a pureness to that rooting for one another. And I think in girl relationships, as I'm sure you know well, they don't always root for each other.
No. Well, the whole thing with this novel is it's all about female friendships and how tricky they can be. And I always find myself, I get wrapped up in these like narcissists where I'm sort of the codependent who, I love when they shine the light on me, but like when they take that away, just like how painful it is.
Sure.
And I've had a lot of mentors along the way that, I would have done anything for. And I have definitely, it's been an issue in my marriage even where it's like, I'm so wrapped up in a friend.
Yep.
And that's a big part of this book. It's about these female friendships and how tricky they can be.
That's so interesting.
Everybody thinks it's so easy, but the women date each other. It's like we're dating.
They really do date each other. Stress is the absolute worst, and it wreaks havoc on both your mind and body. But I have a secret weapon that I cannot wait to share with you. It's called Theragun, and it's used by everyone from elite athletes to not at all athletes like myself and Roger. So believe me, you need a Theragun in your life. We are obsessed. Theragun is the handheld percussive therapy device that releases your deepest muscle tension using a scientifically calibrated combo of depth, speed, and of course, power. And it's as quiet as an electric toothbrush. This is true. The Gen 4 Theragun doesn't just feel good, it gets to the source of the pain by releasing tension. Using Theragun's signature percussive therapy, which goes 60% deeper than vibration alone. Whether you want to treat your muscle tension from working out, an injury, or just the stresses of everyday life, there's no substitute for the Theragun Gen 4. The OLED screen and design make you feel like you're holding something from the future. Just go to their site and check it out, and the Theragun app learns from your behaviors and suggests guided routines. I know that for Roger, he loves using our Theragun between workouts, or pretty much anytime throughout the day, especially if they've been really tough workouts on his body. It really helps him address his really sore muscles. And I use it at the end of the day to sort out the tension in my neck, which is pretty constant. Theragun has significantly reduced my neck pain, and I can feel the stress melting off my shoulders, literally, every time I use it. I actually look forward to having my Theragun time every day. And side note, they look really chic and pretty too. Theragun is trusted by 250 professional sports teams like Real Madrid and elite athletes like Paul George, DeAndre Hopkins, Maria Sharapova, hundreds of thousands of customers, and of course, me. Try Theragun for 30 days starting at only $199. Go to therabody.com/Zoe right now and get your Gen 4 Theragun today. That's therabody.com/Zoe. therabody.com/Zoe. And it's funny because the first guests on my podcast ever were Sarah Foster and Jen Meyer, who happen to be two of my best girlfriends, but they are the best of the best friends. Like my favorite best friends. They are like, it's like they complete each other's breath and sentences. And there's been so many times where I was like, and we all have said like, it would almost be easier if they were married to each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
because they are. But I think sometimes when it's funny because it's like, where does the guy fit in that? Like,
oh my God, completely.
Where does the husband fit in that relationship? So there are those complications. So I'm very excited for this book. And you also live in.
I actually just sent it to Jen. It's so funny.
Did you? Well, Jen's the best.
She's the best.
She is the best. One of the best of the best of the best.
Oh.
One of the things I do want to ask you, because it's something that I'm very envious of with certain people. Where did you get your, I guess, nerve to be so candid, so fucking honest, so like, you know, it's funny. I was saying to Mary, who works with me for 9 years now, and she knows everything about my life. Like, I had a miscarriage between my kids, but at the time, I mean, it was probably 9 years ago. Social media was not like what it is now. And I don't think people were sharing what they share now. Very different time. But like, I don't know, maybe I would have shared that now. And I think there's certain things that when you share them, it helps millions of other people, which is extraordinary. And that's actually the beauty of social media. But what I'm more saying is I think because you're funny, it's helpful and it's your humor. But I think that your ability to so confidently just fucking say what you're thinking is amazing. Yeah. And I think that's such a gift. So tell me, like,
I think it comes from just my parents were both, are just like, they're both like just too into themselves.
Right.
So they didn't actually
therapy
care. I mean, not that they didn't care, but it was just like, there was no reaction. Mm-hmm. And when you don't get a reaction for anything you say, you kind of say anything because it's just like, you just know it goes into the ether. It doesn't matter what you're saying. And I think that's how it started. I was like, oh yeah, I'll tell people that, I hired Jason a hooker in Vegas for his birthday on our 1 year anniversary. Like nobody's listening. It doesn't fucking matter. So, I would just always
by the way, it wouldn't shock people that you said that. That's what's so funny. Like if I said that, people would be like, what? They'd be like, because, which is funny, but like, well, okay. Can I say something to that point? Yes. Roger at his bachelor weekend in Vegas, his friends hired him hookers. And do you know what he did?
What?
He passed the lap dance to his friends. He didn't
oh my God. That's hilarious.
He did. He's not that guy. Like the third relationship he's had. He had a 3-year one in high school, a 3-year one after that going into college. And then he met me. And here we are. So he's that guy.
Right.
He's that guy.
Right.
So I actually, I got a lot done before I got married. You know what I mean? But I really respect it. And I think it's really served you and it's probably helped you a lot. I mean, certainly as a writer, I think it's really helpful.
Yes, for sure. Definitely. Yeah.
I mean, I know you live in a world that I know very well. And I know a lot of people in your world. And I think that there's probably some incredible material.
Oh my God. No, at some point we have to have drinks because there's so much that I'm sure there's a lot of overlap.
Yes. So, okay. So can we talk about momfluencers for a second?
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. So tell me so tell me why you wanted to do this book. Cause I have thoughts and I'm not as candid as you. So I'm
okay. I'm going to bring it out of you.
I want you to say things that I may think about.
I'm going to bring it out of you. And then people are going to be like, have you been hanging out with different people?
You're a bad
lately?
influence on me.
Yeah. And they're like, who is causing this to occur?
I also, hold on. I love Live Fast and Die Hot because that's literally the most amazing thing ever. And can I tell you why? Because I have this really good girlfriend that I will never forget. She had her kids and we were looking at old pictures and she goes, God, I was so much hotter in my Sniffy Jiffy days. She's like, I was so skinny. My boobs were so good and I looked so hot.
I hate that we only notice it after the fact.
I know. I mean, but what are you going to do? Are you going to go back? No,
but you're like, I was killing it. Now when I meet people in their like early 30s, I'm like, you're killing it. You don't even know it.
No, you don't know it. You don't know it.
You think you're done. You're like, I'm 30.
It's true.
And you have no idea. Like you're just starting to like get into it.
Dead. Okay. So tell me, you wrote this, you started writing this book. Okay. One, because of female relationships and the struggles that come with it. But let's really talk about momfluencers. Let's really talk about that.
I just had my second child. I was experiencing a lot of, and I guess when you have a baby and you are on Instagram, a lot of companies start to come to you and they want you to, endorse this, endorse that. And you become the voice of some sort of whatever. And I was watching just the women around me and how they were presenting motherhood and how they were sort of so caught up in like curating the experience.
Sure.
And I had I had this one question that just kept going round and round in my head and was like, if I'm so busy trying to prove to the world what a good mom I am, how good of a mom am I actually being? Like how present can I be in my real life when most of my day is spent trying to capture this like image of motherhood or portray this sort of motherhood that isn't actually real. And I honestly, what always drives me is just like, I'll just start to get like annoyed and pissed off. And I'm watching these girls and, they're writing these captions where, this one's husband's having an affair, like basically off camera, there's someone holding a gun to this guy's head and he's sitting there with his perfect family.
100%.
And she's in a ball gown on the fucking beach in the Bahamas being like, I love life. It's just the girls were so sweet today. Motherhood's so great. You never see a nanny. You never see fucking anything. Or it's like, what is it? What, like some of them, the quotes, it's like, not giving a shit and feeling a bit yachty. And then like, they're in like on a yacht, like in a bikini with like, the kids are there, but they're just props. And I would follow these chicks and just like fume. And I kept saving post after post. And I'm like, this is going to be something. I have to write about this shit. But also personally, just like watching my boundary, like they're testing me like, okay, will you show your kid's face if we give you this deal? How about if you're in this situation? And how, you think you have boundaries, but then they just keep working you down. And it's scary.
Do you notice how silent I am?
Because you know it. Or like one of the fucking posts was like she literally wrote, this woman literally wrote,
I know who you're talking. I know who you're.
My daughter thought this picture was too cute. She said, Mommy, the picture's too good not to post it. I'm like, how does your daughter even know you're fucking posting pictures? Like shit like that used to make me insane. So I had to write this book. It had to be fiction. Otherwise I would have burnt every bridge in this town, but it's all my truth.
Girl, man. You are a favorite. I literally don't even know what to say other than what's your phone number because I'm going to offline.
I know. We need to talk about this offline.
We do. We really, really do. And I do want to talk about being a boy mom because my first son was born in a year where every single one of my friends had girls. So for the first 5 years of his life, it was him and 10 girls. And so the good part, here's the good part of that. The good part of that is that he's so extraordinary around girls, like meaning he's so gentle. He's so respectful. He can roll with girls. He can so that's the good news of that. The second part of that is my other son was born 100% around boys. And definitely, I think a slight difference, but not too much. But it was hard for me the first time because everyone was like putting flower crowns in their hair and as a boy mom at all the birthday parties, like as the girl moms were like drinking rosé and frosé, I was fricking running, chasing my boys. Like, oh my God, he's going to be like under the jungle gym or like upside down or like in the pool or like, running down the hill with no fence or like, and the girls were like painting their hair pink and whatever. Right. So I was just like, this is crazy. And then a bunch of my friends started to have boys and we started to have this great group of boys. And there was something about this like boy mom crew that we spoke or didn't even have to speak this other language. And I think I think the world of motherhood is very female dominated in the world of girls, like American Girl and this thing and pink and flowers and lace and crowns and eyelet and all this stuff.
And Love Shack Fancy tea parties.
Totally. Yeah. And then there's like 10% of like boyness of that, like in the world of kids' clothes, in the world of toys, in the world of everything. Sure. And so I do think that there is a boy mom thing where, as we discussed earlier, where there's this romance, this pure romance between a mother and a son. And I have felt that so deeply for now almost 11 years. And I'm just curious, like, you definitely have boy mom energy, which is awesome. I never did. Like people laughed. Yeah. They actually thought it was someone playing a trick on me when I had two boys. They were like, I'm confused. Like, because at one point, like my kids were really like, as babies, it's funny. They're so skinny now, which freaks me out. But like when they were little, they were so like the rolls and they were so like, I think at 6 months, Caius was 30 pounds. So I would be like holding my kids with all my strength and people would like look at me like laughing. They were like, who up there is like, what are they okay? Like, what are you doing? So I'm curious, like, did you always want boys? Did you not care? Did you perceive yourself as a girl mom? Did you or did you not even think about it ever? And it was just sort of like what happens. And how do you feel like as a boy mom?
Well, I was so happy that I had boys. I was so scared of having girls just because my own relationship with my mother is so
it's tough.
Tricky.
Girls and their moms. It is. I was explaining it to a friend of mine last night who has one daughter and two boys. And he said, she's so mean to my wife. And I was like, yeah, let me talk to you about that. I was like, let me break this down for you. So, and I'm one of two girls. I would have just done too much
projecting. Yeah. I'm one of two girls as well. See? And I would have just projected so much of my own shit if I had daughters. I think a same-sex child, it's hard because I would have just been like, oh my God, afraid of everything. Yeah. I mean, I'm already afraid of everything. Yeah. I think it would have been 10 times worse if I had a daughter.
Yeah. No, I think that you're right. And I think that when I was having my boys, there was a lot of the girls closest to me that were sort of like, this is meant to be. Like, it would be very hard for you to be a girl mom because, and some of them said it would be hard to be your daughter. And I don't know, because I look at someone like Stacy who had 3 girls and, I know a lot of girl moms but listen, I mean, if you ask my mother, I remember I kept saying, Mom, I want more. I want to have a girl. And she was like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Yeah. No, you don't. And I'm so close with her. But, there's that relationship with girls and their moms where it's like, we can't breathe without them, but there's no one we're more awful to, So I think,
exactly.
So I think so. Okay. So tell me about like your boy mom. So you always wanted boys. You were so happy that you had boys.
I was so happy. Jason definitely wanted girls.
So did Roger. So did Roger.
Oh, and he grew up between 2 girls.
Oh my! So did Roger.
Funny. See that? I mean, there are a lot of like signs that we know. I mean, we definitely picked the right type of guys.
100.
Right?
And I also think we're supposed to be friends, clearly, I think.
Clearly, there's a lot happening. Yeah, it's so true. It's really true.
You have a young Madonna thing about your face. Do people say that?
No, but I'll take it. Yeah. Thank you.
And notice,
I just had my
said
filler
young
done.
Madonna.
Thank you.
It looks good. It looks good.
Thank you.
Where are you from, though? Where are you from? Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Scottsdale, Arizona, and my mom was in San Diego. So I lived with my dad through high school, and then I went to UCLA. I was in LA for a long time. I also lived abroad. Actually, it's funny about Sarah Foster. She's always like, because I speak German and my kids speak German.
So do hers.
And
well, she doesn't.
Like, you should have married Tommy. She's like, you love German stuff. She always dies when I'm in Austria because I'm right by where their house is.
Oh my God.
I follow her father-in-law on Instagram. He kills me.
Oh my God.
She's always like, why the fuck do you love it so much? She's like, I hate it. I can't get away from these German speakers.
So, by the way, she doesn't speak it. But like,
I know.
She doesn't. But Valentina and Josie are like fluent, like absolutely fluent. It's insane. That's so impressive. Do your kids speak?
So my kids speak, and they go to German school, and I have a German nanny. Yeah, I hammer them. I make them go to Saturday school as well.
Do you?
I'm evil. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's impressive. They go to German school. I keep telling them it'll like help you one day. It'll look good on a college application. I don't know. Do you know what? My kids are obsessed with anime. I don't know if your boys are into that yet. It's like a thing here, and my boys are completely obsessed with anime. And Skylar's obsessed with Japan and Japanese and wants to learn Japanese and like it's super. I mean, honestly, it's really cool. And they take Taekwondo, so they're so like immersed in the culture, and it's, I don't know, it's super interesting.
Cool.
But
that's cool.
I've loved talking to you. I could talk to you for days.
You guys got to do my podcast.
Yeah.
I need to hear about this relationship. I can't believe how long you've been married.
I'm so impressed with you, first of all. And I just think you're hysterical. I love that you speak your mind. I love that you really just say it. It's very impressive. And yes, we will do your podcast 100%.
I can't wait to hear this story.
It's a long one. It's a long one. But are you in Europe most of the summer then?
So we are. This year we're going to Thailand because a friend in Sid's class, the parents are having a 10-year anniversary there. So they're having everybody come.
Cool.
And so we'll be in Thailand a little bit and then Austria.
Great. Amazing.
We'll be with Sarah's father-in-law in the Alps.
That is so funny. Sarah is honestly one of the funniest people ever because she doesn't really try to be funny. You would be really good friends. She's really funny. Sarah's just funny. She's like you. She just fucking says it. She just is like,
I love that.
She just says it. She was like on her Instagram just going, fuck you, Putin. I was like, yeah. Exactly. That's exactly. Like, yeah, fuck you. But like, she'll just say it. And I think that there's certain female relationships that are just very helpful to you in certain ways, can be very helpful. True. Some can be very damaging, as you know, but but I love talking to you. I think you're awesome. I think you're a badass. I love that you're a boy mom. I can't wait to hang out with you in person.
Yes, I know. We have to do that.
Come to LA soon. I'll be in New York all summer. Where can we get City of Likes?
It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, McNally Jackson, anywhere books are still sold.
I have to tell you that, like I said, I don't have a fuck ton of time to read anything. So I am absolutely reading this. I'm just going to binge all of your books because they are really,
I'm going to send them all to you. And honestly, I know it's so hard to read these days with kids.
I can't even listen to my freaking podcast. I
fucking get it.
It's like between work and life, there's I'm showering at 11 at night. Right. So,
right. Yeah, I know. After bedtime, after I escape bedtime.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. All right, babe, have a great week. And I love talking to you. I'm very excited about all of this. So have a great week. Bye, love.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, honey. Okay. So Jenny Mollen, honestly, I'm kind of obsessed with her. I love people that just say it. I love my friends that just say it. I love people who appear to be very candid and, just really throwing whatever they're thinking out there without fear. And I like that she just like keeps it real. But honestly, she was absolutely hysterical. Now I want to be best friends with her. And turns out we actually have mutual friends, and I can't believe we actually haven't met before. But I loved her story. I loved her candid story. I loved how she kind of just threw her heart out there and just was like, acting wasn't going well, but she's still an actor, but she was never getting the parts that she wanted. And, my thing about people in general is like, I love my friends that just own who they are. Whatever it is, they just kind of like, they just own up to it. And there's something that makes people so much more, I'm so much more accepting and of people and like much less judgy of people when they're just like, yeah, like this is what happened. This is how I did it. I really wanted that fucking part. And you know what? I didn't get it. And, it was really hard and this and that. But like I met my super talented, super famous, husband, and I was really pissed at him and like, And I just, when you meet someone, at least for me, under that kind of story, you just immediately know that like the person that you're talking to is like the real person. And for me, I kind of love not having that wall in front of friends, that you feel like you're getting the real deal. So I'm very impressed with her. I'm so impressed with her books, and I'm so excited for the new book because I think it's something that I'm definitely going to be able to identify with and know people that she is referring to fictionally or non-fictionally. But anyway, I'm super excited. I think she's a badass and I love talking to her. I hope you guys loved listening to her because she's awesome. And also a boy mom. So, I immediately love boy moms because we speak the same language. So if you liked what you've heard so far, please make sure you're subscribed on Apple Podcasts and give us a rating and review. And please keep listening. Also, check us out on our Instagram at works.for.us. Don't forget to tell us your story. We're excited to announce there's now a Works For Us phone line that you can call to leave us a message with your very own relationship stories. And we're planning to share our favorites on the podcast. You can also ask us for relationship advice, although I cannot stress enough, we are not experts, but we'll still take your questions. So if you want to share your story or ask us a question, give us a call at 657-549-2251. That's 657-549-2251. You can also find all of our contact info on our Instagram at works.for.us. Highlight and low light of this week. Highlight, my sons got their report cards. They were pretty extraordinary, and I am so proud of them. They started a new school this September, and they are just thriving. And when you think your kids belong in a certain school that you thought was perfect for them, and it doesn't work out that way, and you realize they're totally different humans and different learners and different students than you thought. That's always wakes you up as a parent, but it's okay. You just own it. So highlight, my kids are really crushing it at school. Also, big news in my life, my eldest son, which I can't believe I'm saying out loud, turns 11 tomorrow, and I cannot wrap my head around that. And also, low light, which will just be a constant low light, is just the war in the Ukraine and the countless refugees around the world. And I know that we're all focusing on Ukraine right now, because I don't even have words for it actually, but it is definitely dominating my thoughts and prayers, and, but certainly will be a constant low light until this nightmare ends, which I hope it does soon. And I will speak to you guys all on the next Works For Us. So thanks for listening.
Make this new school year an opportunity for your kids to learn important life skills with Greenlight. Greenlight is a debit card and money app for families where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely, while parents keep an eye on kids' money habits. Greenlight also helps families get into their fall routine with a chores feature that lets parents assign chores and pay kids allowance when they check them off. Get your first month free at greenlight.com/iHeart. Greenlight.com/iHeart.
Whether it's game day, movie night, or just a busy day, it's always time for Papa Murphy's. And now you can get any medium two-topping pizza for just $6.99. That's right. The whole family can get exactly what they want any day of the week for any occasion. Any toppings, any sauce, only $6.99. Now that's meaty yum. If only everything else in life was like our deal. Order any medium two-topping pizza for just $6.99 at papamurphys.com.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather, now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.